Okay, howdy, Mr. Canadian Alex. This is my speech addressed directly to you and nobody else. I noticed that you wrote a long message, a lengthy message on that Finnish language discussion forum called Ylilauta today on the 21st of May 2025. And you said in your message that you are going to be present at the Turku Medieval Fair, which is going to be held from the 26th of June until the 29th of June this year, 2025. So at the end of just next month, it's going to happen again, just like that same Turku Medieval Fair has been arranged for about the past 20 years already. Okay, so this is the reason why I am making this video, which I'm still recording at the moment, because you told in your lengthy message today that you are going to be present at that Turku Medieval Fair without me noticing it. So that if I, Mr. Are Lehtonen, if I am going to show up in that same event, so you are going to be somewhere nearby me and, incognito. That means so that I won't be able to recognize you, even though you might appear just nearby me during that Turku Medieval Fair, Middle Ages festival in the city of Turku. Okay, well, of course, you might act in such a way that you might never show up for real in Finland in the first place at all. And later on, you might claim that, yeah, you were actually present in that Turku Medieval Fair, but I just didn't notice you because you are not that Canadian Alex at all, that you claim to be somebody else, just like you have been claiming all along for many years by now. So that would be a very convenient way for you to deny everything in spite of the fact that you might not even show up in Finland in the first place, but you might later on lie. You might later on tell a lie that, yeah, you were present there. Would you say at present or just merely present? Excuse me, I am again clinging to English grammar, but I don't want to do that because the topic of this video, which I'm still recording at the moment, is more important than English grammar. Remember, I'm not an English speaker by default. That means I am not a native English speaker because my native language is Finnish language. And I hope that you won't find my speech in this video to be boring so that you would stop watching this video, because I have important things to tell you in this video speech of mine. Okay, but this is actually the first time, it was the first time when you mentioned that you might actually show up and see me in the real world, which you told in your latest message on that Finnish language discussion forum called Ylilauta. I am very impressed by your courage, but let me remind you that first of all, you don't have to be worried about me that I will do something bad to you, because I am not going to do anything bad to you. And I don't think that you would do anything to be, and I don't think that you would be doing anything bad to me either. So why would you hide yourself? For example, wearing some camouflage so that I won't be able to recognize you. But you cannot fool me in spite of any camouflage, because I happen to know pretty well how you would look like, at least approximately, in the real world if you showed up in that event at that Turku Medieval Fair just at the end of next month, which will be the month of June this year, 2025. Okay, please, if you have the money to buy an airplane ticket, airline ticket, all the way from Canada to Finland, well, why wouldn't you just hop in an airplane and come over? Because if you actually did that, I would show up definitely at that Turku Medieval Fair just to see you. But of course, I'm also interested to see what's going on during that Middle Ages festival in the city of Turku, because I have been there a few times before I moved to Bulgaria in October 2010. But before that, I was attending that Middle Ages festival in the city of Turku a few times, and I also video recorded what was going on in there. It's a very interesting festival because most of the attendees, the members of the audience are dressed up in medieval clothing. They are dressed up in such costumes as, those of kings and queens and princes and princesses and beggars and bourgeoisie and merchants and knights, etc., etc. It's a very interesting event, but of course there are similar events almost everywhere in the world every year. Medieval festivals, medieval fairs. I think they are having such festivals also in Canada. But you should come over and see me in the real world in the city of Turku. Just at the end of next month, at the end of June 2025, because I'm going to be there if you are going to be there as well. Even though you might not wear any kind of camouflage on your face or your physical body in general, and if I recognized you pretty easily, you would most probably still deny your real identity. If I came to you and asked you, "Hey, mister, do you happen to be that Canadian Alex or not?" You might deny it altogether by saying, "What are you talking about? Get out of here. I'm not the person you think I am." Even though it would be very obvious that you are the actual Canadian Alex, because I would recognize your face and your tall, slim, physical body. Yeah. Of course I would recognize you, and you would also recognize me, just like you told in your previous message, in your latest message on that Ylilauta Finnish language discussion forum, okay? So why would you be denying your real identity, even though I came up to you and talked to you, and if I asked you about your real identity, why would you deny it? I mean, that would be a very awful and horrible thing for me to experience. Oh my goodness. But that would be spiritual torture on your behalf towards me if you behaved in such a manner. So why wouldn't you just admit that, yeah, you are that Canadian Alex whom I have known for many years through the internet? And if you and I see each other face to face in the real world at that Turku medieval fair, yeah, that would be the first time we would meet in the real world. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. Trust me on this. Uh, but of course, you might think that I might secretly video record you and then publish that video on my YouTube channel, and that of course would cause quite an embarrassment to you, because your family members and relatives and friends would also see, most likely, such a video on my YouTube channel, and then you would feel pretty much ashamed and embarrassed that you have been talking to me. Well, I can promise you right now that I will not be video recording you at all without your consent, without your permission. Is that clear? Have I made myself clear? I really hope so. So don't worry about that. But if you don't trust me, then there's nothing I can do to make you reveal your real identity to me. If you would not be wearing any camouflage on your face or on your physical body to hide your real identity from me. Well, what can I say? It would be a very expensive trip for you to fly all the way from Canada to Finland and back, because you would have to buy a round-trip airline ticket to accomplish such a task of overseas travel. So why would you waste your money without contacting me just as you are? I mean, that you would tell me, yeah, you are that exact Canadian Alex. That, yeah, you are the Alex from Canada, to whom I have been talking to in my English language speeches in my videos. And I have even addressed you directly in many of my writings on that Ylilauta forum, which is that Finnish language discussion forum, okay? So why would you like to make everything so difficult? Because I think that there would come a time in the far distant future, at least, when you would feel the need to open up yourself to me face to face in the real world and tell me who you really are. That you are the actual Alex from Canada. Trust me on this, because when time goes on and the older you get, the more you feel the need to expose your real identity to me in the real world, face to face. Trust me on this. You might not yet believe my words, but I can feel it. Of course, unless you, which I really hope you would not become a narcotics user or an alcoholic, then you would most likely forget about a decent life, especially with me living in the same house in a beautiful countryside. You know, moving to the same house in a rural area somewhere in Finland, under the same roof, under the same ceiling. I mean, of course, I would not accept if you became a drunkard or a drug addict. Our mutual life under the same roof, under the same ceiling, in the same house would become impossible. Because I myself, I never drink any kind of alcohol at all, and I never use any kind of narcotics at all. So why would you not be the same when it comes to alcohol and narcotics? Refusing to use them ever. Okay. Well, that's not my main point here, but this is just a sidebar or side note which I wanted to make. But the main point is that you would not have to seek any other life companion other than me if you accepted me as your lifelong companion. It's as simple as that, because we have known each other. You and I have known each other for so many years already. So why resist this natural thing to get together and start living together? I mean, you are, just after a few days, you will turn 19 years old, Mr. Canadian Alex. So it's all legal. There's nothing illegal for me to make this kind of video speech, which I am delivering in this video at the moment, because you have been a full-grown adult, a grown-up, for about 1 year already. So there is nothing wrong about me talking to you, but you, for some reason, wish to keep yourself as a secretive, cryptic entity, even though it's pretty easy for me to recognize your writing style on that Finnish language discussion forum called Ylilauta. And in each and every message of yours, you keep mocking me and defaming me and belittling me. Well, I have got used to it already, but nevertheless, it's quite an awful relationship when you behave like that, because I have never behaved in similar manner towards you, and I am not behaving in similar manner towards you at this moment, and I will not behave in the similar manner towards you in the future either. So why would you just keep on behaving the way you are behaving towards me in your texts, which you, of course, write in your native English language, in your native language, which is English language, and then you use some kind of advanced language translation program, which in turn uses artificial intelligence and to translate your English language messages to Finnish language, and then you post those Finnish language translations from your messages to that Finnish language discussion forum called Ylilauta. This is how it works. I know it 100%. Well, would you say similar things at my face in the real world by the word of mouth if you and I get together and see each other face to face in the real world? I highly doubt it, but it's a possibility that you would nag at me, even verbally, not only in your texts. Well, I don't expect that to happen, at least not in such extent that you are using your mocking and defaming and belittling language towards me in your written messages, but I don't know how you would behave towards me face to face if you and I show up at the same spot. For example, in that Turku Medieval Fair, after about 1 month, well, please show up. If you have the money to buy a round trip airline ticket, so in that case it would be a piece of cake for you to hop in an aeroplane and come over all the way from Canada to Finland and then fly back to Canada after seeing me in the real world. In the city of Turku, which is located at the Baltic Sea, or the Bay of Finland rather, or would that be, well, in any case, I think you already know where the city of Turku is located. When you first arrive at Helsinki-Vantaa International Airport in Finland, then you just take a train or a bus which travels directly to the west, and then you will end up in the city of Turku, and then you can take a taxi from the railway station and tell the taxi chauffeur that please drive me to old big market square, which is in Finnish language in the form of Vanha Suurtori, in which that Turku Medieval Fair is arranged. Every taxi driver knows where that Turku Medieval Fair is held, so don't worry about that. Just tell the taxi driver you want to go to Turun keskiaikaiset markkinat. Then the chauffeur will take you there directly without any difficulties, okay? And I will be there, but I will not be there for 4 days in a row because I cannot afford to buy hotel rooms for so many nights. I cannot afford to buy a hotel room for myself even for 1 night. So the thing is that I would just have to take the earliest train from the middle of Finland and go to Turku, to the city of Turku directly, and then spend the entire day there, and in the evening I should take another train which goes back to middle Finland. That's how it works. So I will inform you if I go there in the first place that on what particular day I will show up in the city of Turku. It will be sometime between the 26th and 29th of June 2025. So from my future messages on this same YouTube channel of mine, you will get to know on what particular day, on what specific day I will show up in the city of Turku at that medieval fair, okay? But I will inform you well in advance, at least 1 week before that medieval fair starts. So that in that way you get the sufficient time to prepare yourself for the flight from Canada to Finland. Okay. But if you don't show up, I will know it definitely, because if there is nobody like you around with the same kind of face and same kind of physical body structure that you have, then I know that you have never even arrived at Finland in the first place. But if I see a similar guy like you, then I would, of course, if I saw a similar guy like you, then of course I would go to that guy and start talking to him and ask him, hey, do you happen to be that Canadian Alex or not? And if I am 100% sure that the guy is the actual Canadian Alex, then of course I get 100% convinced that it is particularly you, specifically you, only you and nobody else. Even though you might deny your real identity by saying at my face that, what are you talking about? I have never seen you anywhere, not in the real world nor on the internet either, so get out of here. Stop bothering me, or something like that. But why would you behave in such a manner towards me by denying your real identity from me if you and I really saw each other in the real world at that Turku Medieval Fair? This is my question. Well, you might even come with some kind of security guy of yours from Canada if you don't feel safe to see me face to face at that Turku Medieval Fair. But you don't have to spend money, or the other guy doesn't have to spend extra money for extra airline ticket just to make you feel secure and safe when it comes to me, because I will not pose any kind of threat towards you whatsoever at all. Trust me on this. I look forward to it when I have the chance to see you face to face at that Turku Medieval Fair, in other words, Middle Ages Festival, which starts from the 26th of June and ends. It lasts until 29th of June this year, 2025. Okay, I really look forward to it, but I am prepared to get disappointed if you don't show up at all. And don't try to pretend that the writer number 9 would be somebody else than you, and you only, Mr. Canadian Alex, because it is nobody else than only you. Nobody else but only you, Mr. Canadian Alex. The present writer number, the user number 9 on that Finnish language discussion forum, on its particular discussion chain, which has a headline such as Antti Puustinen / Aarre Lehtonen, volume 666. Okay. Well, why wouldn't you show up? Because I will show up, but I might not show up at that Turku Medieval Fair at all if I don't get convinced that you are going to show up also. So you should write in some of your future messages on that Finnish language discussion forum called Ylilauta. You should give me some hint or a cryptic message which would indicate that, you are really gonna show up for real with your physical body by flying all the way from Canada to Finland, and from Helsinki-Vantaa International Airport you would take the bus or train to the city of Turku. You should make me convinced that you are really gonna show up. Otherwise, the chances are that I myself might not show up at that Turku Medieval Fair at all because I have already seen it all before I moved to Bulgaria for 14 years. In October in the year 2010. But before that, I attended Turku Medieval Fair a few times, and I already know what it is, what it's all about. So I don't have to repeat such an experience, but I would definitely show up in Turku Medieval Fair if you yourself showed up as well. So keep that in mind. Because that would be the first time you and I just tried to form my English grammar in a proper form so that I would not make any mistakes. Hold on, I must form my English language sentence in such a manner that it will be correct and fluent and flawless English language, of course. Well, you get my point nevertheless. I don't want to repeat the same things all over again, over and over again, because you are an intelligent guy enough to understand the message which I'm delivering to you in this particular video, which I'm still recording right now. Okay, so when it comes to snobbish Oxford accent in England, English language accent which they use in Oxford University, I think it's somewhere nearby London, the capital city of England. They speak English like this, of course. I don't want to miss my tea and biscuits when the Big Ben rings 5 o'clock. The big bell is going to ring, is going to make that huge sound of the bell for 5 times at 5 o'clock exactly, and then I must, of course, get my tea and biscuits because I'm a very loyal Englishman. I'm a gentleman and I have to follow this tradition, which, for example, the Queen Elizabeth II, I think she also followed these English traditions, of course. And I'm not a snobbish person at all when I speak the Oxford English accent, because I am almost a professor at Oxford University. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope you do. Well, cut that crap. I'm from the southern states of the United States, man, and I don't want to listen to that snobbish English accent. Why don't you speak like people usually do, especially down here in the southern states of the United States? All right? Just give it a try and, try to speak the way I speak English. Why don't you just change your snobbish manners, Mr. Aarre Lehtonen, because it's a very painful task to listen to your snobbish Oxford English accent. You dig? Which means, do you understand what I'm saying? Well, if you don't like my Oxford English accent, of course, then I can change my accent to be that of the Scottish accent, which they speak like this. Me is a sailor which is sailing all the 7 seas, and me got a parrot on me shoulder. I'm a pirate, even though now it is the year 2025, but still I live in my mind the 17th century. Even the Queen of England herself, Elizabeth, who came into power just after Henry VIII died, Queen Elizabeth of England, in the 16th century actually, she gave the permission to ordinary Englishmen to become pirates, to rob those Spanish tall ships, which carried merchandise and French tall ships as well. It was legal business. I mean, piracy on the behalf of English pirates were all legal in England, but of course it was highly illegal from the point of view of Spaniards and Frenchmen. And even Dutch. I think, I'm not sure if the Dutch were also involved when it comes to, in the role of victims of English piracy. But that is a historical fact that Englishmen were allowed to rob foreign tall ships on the Atlantic Ocean by the specific permission from England's queen, whose name was Elizabeth, and that is a historical fact. Can you imagine? Piracy was legal and legalized by the very highest person who ruled England back in the day. Well, I forgot my Scottish accent. I fell back to Oxford accent. Well, it's all the same, Great Britain in general, including Scotland, England, and Wales, and Ireland. And, we pirates, we had our parrots on our shoulders, sitting on our shoulders and repeating our cursing words which we used when we were in the piracy business, There is a saying which goes like this: swearing like a pirate, cursing like a pirate. Which way is it? But you get my point, nevertheless, Mr. Canadian Alex. I hope you have the tolerance to listen to my English accent, even though you yourself are a Canadian, and Canadian English is almost the same as American English, but you don't use that thick southern accent in Canada. But anyway, I hope that my English is understandable to you, Mr. Canadian Alex, and I wish to have this entertainment portion of my speech in this video, which I'm still recording just for the fun of it, because I really like to act as an actor in a theater or an actor in a movie in my videos. Because when I was a schoolboy, I used to be an actor in our school plays, which we showed to a large audience at our school, and I even directed some of the theater plays myself. So I have been both a theater play director and a theater actor, and also a movie actor, of course, because I have directed about 30 movies as a hobby in my lifetime. And you can see the long list of the names of my movies in my huge book, which name is The Bible of the Church of Real Boy Mowgli. But back to my point, which is that I should really try to imitate different accents of English language, because English is used around the world, all over the world. For example, in India, they speak English like this. Well, I don't want to imitate because it would sound very mocking towards Indian people in the country of India. I don't want to do that. But of course, England and Great Britain in general is a different matter. I love when Sir Roger Moore played his role as Brett Sinclair in the television series called The Persuaders, and also when he played the Saint in the television series with the same name, The Saint. But I think that the best television series where Sir Roger Moore ever played in was The Persuaders. His co-actor was Tony Curtis, who had his role name as Danny Wilde. They showed that television series The Persuaders in Finland's mainstream television channel. Back in the day, approximately at the same time when they were producing that TV series in England, because Finland's television channel showed it in the years 1971 and 1972, if I remember correctly, and I used to watch that TV series when I was a young schoolboy, about 10 and 11 years old. I remember that TV series. I loved it, and I still love it, and they still have the episodes, full episodes of the Persuaders TV series on YouTube. And I actually uploaded some of those episodes to my previous YouTube channel, to which I don't have any access anymore, unfortunately. Not because I hid all my videos to become private, but because of the reason that the Gmail address, which is directly connected to my old YouTube channels, my different Gmail addresses, they don't work from other countries other than where I established those email addresses in the first place, which was in the country of Bulgaria in Southeastern Europe. But outside of Bulgaria, the Gmail wants me to receive a specific, approximately 6-digit code before I could open my Gmail and in that way get access to my old YouTube channels. Even though I type in my username and my password 100% correctly, it does not help, because Google, which owns Gmail, wants me to verify the authenticity of the owner of the Gmail address by sending a secret code, a series of numbers to my Bulgarian phone number, which I cannot access anymore from Finland. Can you imagine how difficult Google has made it? For example, for tourists who visit other countries, who travel to foreign countries from their home country. And of course, in foreign countries, their phone numbers, which are connected to their home country's phone services, they don't work abroad, they don't work in those other countries. And in that way, tourists, many other people, not only me, many other people as well, they cannot get any access to their Gmail addresses from foreign countries while they are visiting those other countries as tourists or when they are on a business trip or whatever. Can you imagine this? There are some other email providers which don't have the similar system as Google's Gmail has. And Google's Gmail system is really absurd, because I would have to go back to Bulgaria in order for me to receive that secret, approximately 6-digit number code to my Bulgarian phone number before I could open up my Gmail and in that way get access to my old YouTube channels. Can you imagine how difficult Gmail has made this everything? For people who are not at present in their original countries where they have opened up, when they have first created their Gmail addresses, can you imagine how awful and absurd and impractical process this all has become? Because I went and read from certain questions and answers platforms on the internet, about this Gmail problem, that it does not open up from foreign countries unless the owner of the email address is at present in the original country where the email address has been established in the first place. Many other people have just exactly the same kind of problem as I have. They also don't have any access to their Gmail addresses from abroad, which is practically insane. So I cannot get access to any other services which that one particular Gmail address or even many Gmail addresses which I have had in the past. I cannot have access to Google Drives or YouTube channels or any other services which open up only if one gets signed in to a particular Gmail address, which is impossible to do from Finland or in any other foreign country besides Bulgaria. I mean, this is really a problematic situation for me, because I would have liked to use some of my old materials from my old Google Drives and old YouTube channels to be used on my present YouTube channel, but I cannot do that just because of that simple reason that the Gmail addresses of mine, they refuse to open up without me first traveling back to Bulgaria to receive those specific secret codes sent by Gmail to my Bulgarian phone number. Of course, I'm not going to travel back to Bulgaria. First of all, I cannot afford to do that, and secondly, I don't want to go back to Bulgaria. So my old YouTube channels are gone forever. In the sense, I mean, they are still existing there, of course, but I can never have access to them without traveling back to Bulgaria and receiving those secret number codes to my Bulgarian phone number. My goodness. Well, I don't want to whine and lament about this problem to you, Mr. Canadian Alex, any longer. I just wanted you to know what kind of situation I have when it comes to my old YouTube channels. My old YouTube channels are dead for me, even though they are not dead for real, but my access to them is impossible from Finland, and that's all there is to it. Okay, now I change the subject. First of all, I have to check for how long I have recorded this video. 48 minutes and 18 seconds. All right. Well, what else should I say during this video speech? I have not made these English language video speeches often at all, just because of the simple reason that you have been and you are still behaving in a very bad way towards me on that Finnish language discussion forum called Ylilauta. But what can I do? But I decided to make an exception to the rule, and start recording this English language speech of mine in this video, which I'm still recording at the moment. Just because of the one simple reason, which is that you luckily mentioned that you might show up. You actually told in your latest message on that Ylilauta discussion forum that you are definitely going to show up at that Turku Medieval Fair and be nearby me physically, and that you would definitely recognize me in the real world at that Turku Middle Ages Festival, in other words, Turku Medieval Fair. So I got very excited in a positive way, and I am still very happy because of your message. Because now it looks like I still have some hope left, in spite of the fact that you have been behaving in a very bad way towards me in your messages. But that one particular detail from your message made me start recording this English language speech of mine in this video, which I'm still recording, okay? I hope I don't bore you with my speech, but at least you cannot deny the fact that I am delivering my English language speech in a flawless manner, so that you are definitely able to understand my every single word which I utter in my speech. There's no question about that. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like the Southerners would say in the southern states of the United States. But I cannot imitate that accent properly, because even if I tried, I would fail miserably, because I'm not a native English speaker. But maybe you, Mr. Canadian Alex, can imitate the southern accent of the United States. I'm not sure, but I suppose so. So it will be very fun for me to listen to your southern accent imitation if you open up to me face to face in the real world. I mean, it would be a lot of fun spending time together, you and me. Why not? Oh my goodness. And when it comes to, forgiving you all of your negative messages towards me, that's what has exactly happened. I have forgiven you, but of course I expect that you would improve your manners, at least if you showed up in the real world, so that you would not start nagging at my face in the same way you are nagging at me in your texts on that Finnish language discussion forum called Ylilauta. But the time will tell how things will proceed when it comes to you and me in the future. I still have hope. And I really wish that you showed up in the city of Turku at its medieval fair just after about 1 month. But if you don't show up, then it's of course your business. And I respect your decision not to show up, because it's your 100% human right to decide whom you wish to meet or whom you don't wish to meet in the real world. Of course, it's up to you. But on my behalf, I'm ready to see you at Turku Medieval Fair after about 1 month. So think about this thing. If you have extra money laying around, then use that money in such a manner that you would buy a round-trip airline ticket from Canada to Finland and back. And of course, you should also have extra money for the train ticket or bus ticket from the capital city of Helsinki, Finland, to the city of Turku and back, because you would have to fly back to Canada from the Helsinki-Vantaa airport, which is, in that, how would you say, metropolitan area. It is not exactly in the city of Helsinki. It is located, the international Helsinki-Vantaa airport is actually located in the city of Vantaa, which is the neighboring city to Helsinki. But in general, one can call that huge area in the term of metropolitan area, which is the larger concept apart from the city limits. The capital city and its surrounding townships are called metropolitan area. That's an international word as well. used in many other, used in the similar context when it comes to other countries and their capital cities as well. Okay, what else should I say in this video? I cannot help if the synchronization of my voice and the movements of my mouth do not match. Sometimes they do match, and sometimes they do not match, so I cannot help it. I know that it's very excuse me. I know it's very inconvenient to watch such a video in which the synchronization of the movements of the mouth and the voice itself are not synchronized. That is the fault of my recording device. That is not any deliberate bad act on my behalf when this occurs in my videos. You must remember that I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm not doing this deliberately, that the synchronization will be, in a bad shape. Okay. What else should I say in this video? Just for your sake. Remember, where elsewhere you would find a guy like me, Mr. Canadian Alex, who would forgive you most of your evil writings which you have been writing towards me and about me on that Finnish language discussion forum called Ylilauta. It's a very rare thing that somebody would forgive you your awful behavior in your texts. But I have forgiven most of your bad writings in such a manner that I don't mind them, especially if you show up in the real world. Why would I even remind you of your past deeds in the form of bad writings on that Ylilauta forum? I would not even bring that topic up at all during our real life conversation. And this is the way I am, and you know me already pretty well during our mutual relationship on the internet. Even though you and I have never met face to face in the real world, but we have known each other, Mr. Canadian Alex, for many years through the internet. So, oh my goodness, you have turned out to be quite a person, should I say. Should I put it this way? When it comes to your awful writings on that Ylilauta forum, for heaven's sakes. But as you can see, I can still behave towards you in a friendly manner, which I have been doing in my English language video speeches. And, well, I brought up your bad behavior in my huge book, which name is The Bible of the Church of Real Boy Mowgli. But even then, I was not terribly condemning you. But I was just mentioning the fact when it comes to your behavior towards me for many years already on that same Ylilauta forum. Yeah, I just brought that topic up in my book, and that's all there is to it. But we should look forward to the future, not thinking about the past too much, because the future lies ahead of us both, and we should take care of our mutual future, for heaven's sakes. You should keep that in mind. Why would you behave in a terrible way towards me? In the real world, I expect you to show up as you promised. It was a promise, but of course you could break your own promise. It does not matter, because such a promise does not legally bind you to anything. But, generally speaking, you should keep your promise and show up at that Turku medieval fair after about 1 month. Well, if you don't show up, it's your business. And I can understand if you hesitate to see me in Finland. Well, but you should gather some courage. Is this the correct English language expression to say gather some courage? Because in Finland we say the same thing in the form of kerää rohkeutta. The word kerää is, in English, gather. Rohkeutta means courage. Kerää rohkeutta, gather courage. I don't know if that Finnish expression is equivalent in English, but nevertheless you get my point. Should I say rather become courageous and come to Finland? Okay, I think that at least would be the proper expression. Pardon me for clinging again to English grammar, but I cannot help myself because I try to be a perfectionist when I deliver my English speeches to you, Mr. Canadian Alex, so that you could not blame me afterwards for using bad English full of flaws and grammar mistakes and so on and so forth. Well, as you can see, I can communicate to you in perfect English language so that you don't have to study my language, which is Finnish language, in order for you to be able to communicate with me in the real world. Good heavens, think about it. I do my utmost to provide you the best English I can ever provide. So that's all there is to it. So I think about your convenience, and also I don't want to make a fool out of myself by, using bad English full of grammar mistakes. No, I would not even like to talk in these English language video speeches of mine at all if I knew that my English is bad. So I try to produce the best English I can, which I have been doing. You cannot deny that, okay? So, what else should I say in this video, for heaven's sakes? I expect you to mock me and belittle me and defame me in your next messages on that Finnish language discussion forum called Ylilauta from behind your user number 9, when you first, of course, you would be writing your messages in your native English, which is your native language. And then have your English messages translated to Finnish language, and then you would post those Finnish language translations to that Ylilauta forum, just to mock me, defame me, belittle me, etc., etc., and so on and so forth. I have got used to it, and I fully expect you to do that. Of course, I don't wish you to do that, but I have. I already know your behavior towards me, so it would not become as a surprise for me at all. When it comes to your next messages on that Ylilauta forum, especially commenting on this English language video speech which I'm still delivering. Oh my goodness, can you imagine? At least even your negative behavior towards me proves that you are loyal to me, even though in a negative manner. But loyal you are towards me nevertheless, which is a great achievement on your behalf. That's what I think. It shows at least that your character can be faithful and loyal to me. Well, of course, I cannot know if you spend some of your free time in some beer bar drinking a pint of beer with some of your pals. I don't think so, because I just don't intuitively feel that way about you that you would every once in a while escape to a alcoholic restaurant and drink some alcoholic beverages just like beer, either alone all by yourself or with some of your pals. If that's the case, of course I would be disappointed because you would not stop such a behavior, even though if you moved to the same house with me, under the same roof, under the same ceiling in sometime in the future. Because if you continue such behavior, our mutual life would become impossible. If you became an alcoholic or a drug addict or both, because I never use any kind of alcohol at all, and I also never use any kind of narcotics at all, so you should be the same when it comes to these kinds of issues. So, yeah, you are loyal and faithful, even though in a very negative way, but loyal and faithful you are nevertheless, which is remarkable and it is amazing to notice. And I have noticed it for a long time already. But the fact that it's still going on, and also that there is no end in sight when it comes to your bad behavior towards me on that Ylilauta forum, it's still amazing. It still amazes me when it comes to your loyalty and faithfulness towards me. At least I have a life companion out of you for myself. And I have had you as my lifelong companion already for quite some time. In fact, for many years already, and I hope for many years to come as well. Even though your behavior is the most negative behavior one could ever imagine. Well, of course, your behavior could be even worse, but at least the way you behave towards me right now and the way you have been behaving towards me for a long time is a negative thing all by itself alone. But, it could be worse. But, yeah, you are my life companion. Yeah, and you cannot deny that fact because you keep clinging to your writings and postings on that Ylilauta forum almost every single day. And this has been going on and on and on for a long time. And it will be going on for a long time. I just know it intuitively. Well, I should be satisfied that I have a life companion out of you for myself, even though it's a negative relationship. Not on my behalf towards you, but on your behalf towards me. It's a very negative relationship, but that's a relationship nevertheless. So I should not complain. I could complain, but I won't. Yeah. I hope I have not been a boring lecturer in this video of mine, which I'm still recording. At least you are able to understand my every single word which I utter, because I make sure that my English is flawless, without grammar mistakes and without stuttering. As you might have noticed, my English language has been improving lately compared to my stuttering English in the past. For example, a few years ago, but now I think I have been able to improve my English language skill to such an extent that you don't have to suffer about any grammar mistakes or stuttering on my behalf. Well, the main point is now that you should give me some kind of hint or cryptic message in some of your future Ylilauta forum messages that you are definitely 100% sure going to show up at that Turku Medieval Fair just after about 1 month. Because if I don't get any confirmation about you coming from Canada to Finland to see me in the city of Turku, then the chances are that I will not show up at the Turku Medieval Fair myself either. But if you get me convinced that you are going to show up, then I will show up definitely. And and I will inform you well in advance about the particular day when I will be showing up at Turku Medieval Fair at least 1 week before I will travel there. In some of my future YouTube videos, I will inform you about my plan to travel and attend the Turku Medieval Fair on a specific day, and I will tell you what that specific day will be in some of my future videos. If you manage to get me convinced that you also are going to show up there. Okay. So let us meet each other there, and everything will go on well. Everything will be all right. Don't worry about it. At least on my behalf, but I hope that also on your behalf there would not be any problems whatsoever. There would not be problems on my behalf whatsoever. Just believe me, trust me on this. Why would I try to do something bad to you, for heaven's sakes? I have been waiting to see you for so many years, so let's finally get together and see each other at Turku Medieval Fair just after about 1 month, okay? That's all I had to say in this video. I should really stop recording this video before this video becomes too long. I have been recording this video for 1 hour and 12 minutes. No, 1 hour and 13 minutes and 3 seconds exactly. So, all the best to you, Mr. Canadian Alex, and thank you for watching this video, and thank you for listening to my voice in this video. Bye-bye.